Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Worlds Apart, Words Together, where best friends share laughter, stories, and an unbreakable bond. And we're here, mentally, not so much, physically, very much present.
Yeah, today's a rough one.
It
Little
is a
chilly.
rough one, but we're still here and we're pushing through and we're doing our best, and that is all one can do.
Yes.
Um, Today, personally, I like this topic a lot because I always notice a lot of good things from this. So today we're going to be talking about routines and how routines will be personalized for everyone. Um, First, we're kind of just talking about what is a routine, why would we incorporate routine, and then we'll suggest some ideas for what to do in the morning and some ideas for what to do at night. And then we'll also share some personal experiences on what we've noticed that helps us with our routines.
Yeah. So routine is we're very habitual creatures as humans. We as much as you may think that you go with the flow, deep down you do some sort of habitual kind of manifestation of an everyday life. It's kind of what we fall into, whether they're good habits or bad habits, but it's stuff that we do consciously or subconsciously every day or most days, as we live out our everyday life.
Yeah. And to add into that, like I lost my thought. It's one of those days where I have a thought and it just immediately pops out. Um no, but humans are very much creatures of habit, and research, even though we're not quoting any research, research does show that if you have certain routine that you follow, you are more likely to feel happier during the day because it's more within your comfort zone than having to do a different type of routine every day. I think
Yeah.
that's why jobs like nursing and caretaking jobs that have those shifting shifts or in yeah, those, I don't know the word, but where you don't have the same shift every day, um, can bring a lot of stress on people because they cannot really create a day-to-day routine with that.
Yeah, and even with people in those kind of career fields, more times than not, even though that their day to days are not similar, so to speak, their weeks probably mimic each other in a way, and they can set
Yeah.
up routines weekly. So a lot of times, routines can be a good influence or a bad influence. Same with kind of like habits; they kind of all intermix. Good, there's a grouping of like good habits and good routines that you want to get into because that's going to help you feel more confident and have a better outlook. And then there's those routines and habits that we just do, maybe not even realize that we do, that's just been ingrained in us for so long, or if you don't even notice it, it's just something you've done and you don't even notice that it actually is a thing. And some of those can be, good or bad. um, and it's just something to be mindful of because you a lot of times these occur and you don't really even know that they're happening or that you're doing them. So it's one
Right.
of those things. If you're like, oh, be mindful of like in the morning, what do I normally do? Like, what does that look like for me? Am I someone who, just rolls out of bed, puts clothes on, and goes to work, and that's that? No breakfast, no reading, no like anything like that. Like,
Nothing.
as much as, oh, that's not a routine, that actually is a routine because now you've done it day and day and day. or day after day
But it
after day.
might not be a benefiting routine for
Exactly.
you.
It may not be a good routine that's setting you up for optimal success, but that has still been your developed routine. So it's just
Yeah.
little things like that to start being mindful of. And
Yeah.
if you're really looking for these small steps to potentially better yourself, because this platform is all about finding ways to help with personal growth, starting and recognizing one segment of your day and being like, is that is that helping me, is this aiding me in the
Yeah.
direction that I want to go, is really kind of where to start, I think.
Yeah. So I think that is a good focus for this episode. It's not telling you what is good or what is bad. That has nothing to do with it because whatever works for me doesn't work for somebody else and vice versa. Um, but we're just giving you some insight into what you potentially could incorporate in your day to day routine. So, for example, to start off with a morning routine, setting your alarm at the same time every day will help you sleep better, but also feel more energized in the morning because your body gets used to this sleeping pattern. Now, that only helps if you also set your or go to bed at the same time every night, but that's more your night routine, which we'll go into. Um, but yeah, that's a first start. Setting your alarm at the same day every morning. Even they say during the weekends now. I'm not really a fan of that because I'm like, I want to sleep in on the weekends, and I'm sure a lot of other people are too. But they do say, research does say that to feel that optimal energy, you'd have to set your alarm the same time every day.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't set alarms on weekends, so I
I
kind of
don't
have like
either.
a 2 cycle week where like Monday to Friday, I'm up every day at the same time, and then on the weekends
Yeah.
I let my body do a natural sleeping cycle, and whenever I wake up,
Yeah.
I wake up, because at that way I kind of feel that during the week I have that routine, and then on the weekends I'm allowing my body to do what it needs to do for.
Yeah. To take the rest that it needs to
Exactly.
recharge.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's what I do too. I mostly have my alarm set at the same time every morning. But then on the weekends, I'm just sleeping. And then oftentimes, because I don't go to bed like a lot later on the weekends than I do during the week. So usually I tend to wake up around the same time
Hmm.
anyway, maybe like 20 minutes later. But because my body is so used to that sleeping routine that I just wake up and I feel perfectly fine.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that is good too because that way you do see that that routine is helping you because your body really adjusts to that routine.
Yeah, and it allows your body to pretty much fall into a pattern of like different of establishing your circadian rhythm, which is basically that internal body mechanism of when you're waking up, when you're going to go to sleep, and like that gets into a lot of scientific side of when are certain hormones released and all this
Yep.
other stuff that will put you into the optimal time to go to sleep and the optimal time to wake up. So like having that consistency plays more, way more than are you getting enough hours. It actually helps internalize and or internally stabilize your body, um like to keep that.
Yeah. And another thing that I think will help with feeling refreshed in the morning is making sure to drink plenty of water before you drink coffee or anything else
Oh,
because I
100%.
know a lot of people and we've talked about this too. um I don't know if it was on a podcast or just us talking about it, but oftentimes people drink coffee the first thing in the morning. But what that does, it spikes your cortisol levels. And you were the one explaining that all to me, because the caffeine, it doesn't have any, you don't have any food in you, and the caffeine just spikes up that cortisol. So you just feel so much more anxious and stressed already at the beginning of your day. And it doesn't wake you up, it just makes you feel anxious.
Yeah, 100%. So when you first wake up, your cortisol level is already at a high because your body woke up. Like your body woke up the way it internally wakes up. One of the ways is by releasing cortisol because that's what gets you going. And then if you go and drink coffee on top of that, your cortisol level's already high, and you have drank a stimulant, so it's going to boost your cortisol levels up here. Now it takes about an hour ish for that cortisol to regulate back to a somewhat normal or stable daily
Yeah,
level after you wake up. So the best thing you can do for your body once you wake up is to delay the onset of any kind of stimulant until you have reached those normal cortisol daily cortisol levels.
yeah,
So to your point, like the best thing you can do after you've slept 8 hours or whatever you would sleep is to hydrate with water. You've gone whatever amount of hours with no water. Your body is mostly made up of water.
dehydrated.
Yeah. So you are dehydrated. And the best thing you can do is to first chug like 16 to 30 ounces or 300 to
Two
600.
cups.
Yeah, well, yeah, between 200 and 300 milliliters of water to just replenish what you lost while you were sleeping.
Yeah. And that also, like, I notice it a lot when I go running in the morning without any breakfast or anything, that I get so dehydrated during my run because I'm already dehydrated from sleeping, but then I don't drink enough before I go running, and then I'm just even more dehydrated.
Yeah.
So then I'm so thirsty. So what I try to do is just before I go running, make sure to drink plenty of water. I don't personally, I don't like drinking a lot before I go to bed
Oh,
because then I'm
yeah.
just
No.
constantly peeing.
You shouldn't really drink much fluids like an hour and a half to 2 hours, maybe even three, depending upon age and different things,
Yeah,
before bed, just to prevent those like wake ups.
yeah, yeah. So that those are two great starting points, I think. Setting an alarm and making sure you drink water. And those things are very easily done. Like I always have my nice water bottle next to my bed. So when I wake up, I just grab this and I take a little sippy, a little more than just one, but just to get going. Yeah. So on the caffeine thing too, make sure to eat something, even if it's a little small. Make sure to have a little bit of food in you, um, so that caffeine doesn't drop into an empty stomach.
Yeah. And especially in the mornings, you're gonna want to go more high protein and like a whole food carb, not these high sugar cereals or pop tarts or stuff like that.
Yeah,
Like that's not really gonna help you in any direction. Like if you could have like a berry yogurt bowl or a protein bar
yeah,
or eggs and toast or something like that, that you get those high source of protein and those carbs, because ultimately that's what you've lost during the night.
yeah, yeah. It's funny because the more like we learn about it, and obviously you've done it in your school, and I've just on the side more, but your body is just one big science project.
Oh yeah.
It's like what works well, what doesn't work well, and during during time people found out, oh, these products we shouldn't put into our bodies. Oh, it is not smart to start the day with a bunch of caffeine. Oh, so it's all science. and it's fun. It's geeky.
Yeah, and I mean, I have a lot to say on the whole industry, but I am a firm believer in everything that I've learned and everything that I've gone through personally. The more whole that you can live, like holistic, the
Yeah,
better off you're going to be because that's what our bodies ultimately need. Like all
yeah,
these new adaptions and all these new creations are can be beneficial to a degree, but
yeah,
at the bare bones, your body needs those whole products. You got to think of it kind of like a machine where, like, if you don't put the right inputs in, you're not going to get the
yeah,
outputs that you want.
yeah. And that's the thing. And this is a little bit of a off topic, so we'll go get back on topic, I swear. But that's the thing too with people who have all these special diets, either a vegan diet, vegetarian diet. Like it's great for whatever reason that they want to do that, but at the same time, your body needs those um those products. Like your body is adjusted to and needs to digest a bunch of protein from different sources, a bunch of fiber from different sources. And with those types of diets, you oftentimes do not get everything, all the nutrients
Mhm.
that you need. And it's very hard to replace that. And um, yeah, it's a shame. But I don't know, just a little bit off topic.
Yeah, I just nutrition like we'll have to do. We'll probably end up doing, especially with the next 4 years, a whole topic on nutrition because there's so much misunderstanding. There's so much uh, false advertising and misguidance
Yeah.
by a lot of people that hold very prestigious titles. Just should not be out there. But for the purpose of this, like we're talking about the habits and those morning habits, and it's
Yeah.
very important that you get to sleep. Like you wake up at the same time, most relatively the same time. You go to bed the same time. The first thing in the morning, you need to rehydrate because you've gone those sleeping hours with no fluid. And then the third thing to make it kind of like a short kind of recap of potential morning things would be to have a good whole food breakfast that involves mostly whole carbs and protein.
Yeah. Yeah. And they always say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And I think every meal is the most important meal of the day, as long as you put in the right nutritions and the right things. I always start my day with some yogurt and granola, just because I'm not a big eater in the morning, but I still want to get my protein in. And for people who like to sleep a little later, and don't have as much time before they have to go to school or to work or get kids to school or whatever that you have to do in the morning, um, I highly recommend doing some meal prepping. Meal prepping could be done as part of like a night routine where I did it at my sister's house where we make sure that breakfast that we need tomorrow morning that we make that at night so in the morning we don't have to worry about that. um, Things like that. You could also meal prep for an entire week if you want to, if you have recipes. Like an easy meal prep meal would be oats, overnight oats, baked oats, like whatever kind of oats you want. Those contain a lot of good stuff too. um, but again, it's all so personal, and whatever works for you. And we're not here to tell you what works for you because we don't know, but we're here to get you to understand why it might work for you and that you can try some things out for yourself. And we are really curious as to what everybody does. Like what is something that you do in your morning routine that might help somebody else too. Like I know Leah, you journal in the morning, right?
No.
None of, oh, I thought you did.
Mm-mm.
At night?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay. For some reason I thought you journaled in the morning. Or was that
No.
just for a little bit, like for like a challenge?
Yeah, I mean, normally in the morning I'll get up. Like I have my morning routine. I've done for like a while now because it helps me. I needed something that I could adjust to very quickly after graduating and just like this in between weird stage.
Yeah.
So I'll get up and I make myself a apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, honey, warm little like shot, because that kind of helps one with hydration with the lemon, and
Yeah.
also the apple cider vinegar has really good antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, and just like gut health stuff. And then I'll drink that, and then about 15 minutes later, I'll drink like 32 ounces of water.
Yeah.
And while I drink that, I normally prep whatever lunch I normally eat. Hunter and I normally eat the same lunch every day, Monday to Friday. So I already know what I have to put together, and I throw it together real quick
Yeah.
while I drink that. And then I go work out, and then once I get back, I'll eat breakfast. My breakfast has lately been a Greek yogurt berry granola bar or bowl, because that has again a lot of fiber, antioxidants, some carbs, and proteins, which
Yeah.
is
Just
very
all of it.
nutrition hit all like the major
Yeah.
groups. And then depending upon what day it is, I'll get ready to go to work or I'll do house chores or whatever it might be. But that's been kind of like my standard routine since I
Yeah.
graduated. And I can tell a difference if I have to rush a part of it or I have, for whatever reason, would need to shorten or skip a part. It's very noticeable the rest of the day. I feel
Yeah.
off. But that's something that's helped me. It's helped me kind of regulate my gut and my hormonal system. As a female, it's helped with just getting water in because for a while I was like not drinking any water because I was stressed and just everything. And it also started helping just making sure I get the day started with a good whole
Yeah.
nutritious meal. Even though it seems small, like a smoothie bowl, just doesn't have to be that big, But
Yeah, it
it
doesn't
does
have to be.
contain
It
a
contains
very
so much
good,
good stuff.
exactly, and you can't really
Yeah.
go wrong with that unless you get the sugary yogurts. But like
Yeah.
normal Greek yogurt that you can then add really good toppings, berries, granola, a little bit of honey, like all of that is very
Yeah.
healthy and needed for your body. So I always start the day off
Yeah.
with that.
I like that. Good. Yeah, and then now after you've gone through your morning day and your routine in the morning, probably a lot of people also have working routines. Like they go to their job, they have their lunch break, and then they go back home from work, and then your evening slash night routine starts. Um, Again, this probably looks different from for everybody else. In the Netherlands, it's very common to eat dinner 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock is dinner time.
Hmm.
I know other countries, Italy, you eat dinner way later, um, not until 8. But for the Netherlands, it's 6 o'clock, and then it's time to go to bed. And what are some things that
What's an
you,
average bedtime for the Netherlands? Would you say?
11 o'clock?
Oh, that's late.
No,
What's an average wake up time?
7.
Okay, so you sleep in.
I This is just purely on my experience with my family. I will look it up right now. So why don't you start us off with some nighttime routines while I look at this, find
Yeah,
this answer.
nighttime routines I have found personally to be the hardest to establish. I've seen a lot of nighttime routines to include like you eat at a certain time, you then have a certain designated amount of time to do clean up the kitchen, just clean up your house or your apartment, and then you have a designated time to do all of your like toiletries or skincare and all of that. And then you can do journaling or gratitude or affirmations has become very popular. Reading, anything kind of like that. That's away from any sort of electronic or TV to just help again regulate your body and your mind, say okay, nighttime or sleep time is coming. It helps stimulate the release of different hormones like melatonin so that you can go to sleep on time and stay
Yeah.
asleep and so forth like that. So it's very unique to the individual and their situation. Like I said, like it's been one of the hardest things for me to establish.
For me, it's been the easiest one. I struggled more with mornings than with evenings.
What would your typical nighttime routine look like?
So usually I go upstairs to get ready around 10 o'clock. Usually I call Michael as well, like in that time frame, but I usually do that after I've done like my skincare routine. So what I do is I go to the bathroom, I clean my face, then I put some oil on my face. It's baby oil. Um, I don't know. I found it and I wanted to try it out, and I did, and I really like it. It keeps my face nice and moist during
Nice.
the night. Then I brush my teeth, and then I go lay in bed and I call Michael. Usually, not always. And then after I'm done with Michael, I usually read whatever book I'm reading, and then I play my little Disney park game. Um, and then I go to bed. I go to sleep. Um, right now, though, I've tried to play my game before I go read, just so I can put my phone down and not have to pick it up anymore.
Hmm.
Um, because I really want to try to not look at my phone at least 30 minutes before I
Yeah.
really go to sleep. Um, and oh, one important thing that I also do is I play my deep sleep frequencies.
Very nice.
Yeah, Leah hates them.
Yes.
She cannot handle those. Um, but I really like those frequencies because it triggers my brain to go into the deep sleep brainwave frequency. I really like it. I also looked up the average bedtime for the Dutch, and that lies between um, 11 and 11:15, and the average wake up time is between 7 and 7:30.
Okay. I guess
Because
that's the
here
average.
people relatively live close to work.
Hmm.
Most jobs start at either 8:30 or 9 o'clock, so you don't have to be up as early. Of course, there are people who will do workouts and stuff before they have to go to work, but on an average base, like people, they don't. Um, so that's our
That's nice.
average.
Speaking of frequencies, have you heard of the Hatch alarm clock?
No.
Okay, look it up. So basically, this alarm clock like does do like different sounds or frequencies as well, but it also when the alarm goes off, there's like a light that slowly goes from dim to bright to like wake
Oh,
you up like the sun.
yeah.
So
Okay,
that
but
made
that
me
doesn't. Okay, so I I really like that idea, but I sleep with a freaking eye patch because I hate light when I sleep. And you
Right.
notice from when we live together, like I cannot continue to sleep when it's light out,
Mm-hmm.
and especially now during the summer, like it stays light until like 11 o'clock, and then it's again light at 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like that's not enough for me. Like I need more sleep than that. So I usually sleep with an eye patch. So that light wouldn't work for me. But I have seen those clocks. Those are cool.
Yeah, I've always wanted to try one because Hunter sleeps with earphones in, and it annoys me because I can hear them. And
Oh,
um,
like he plays music
I don't know. I don't know if they're music or if
or
it's
a
like YouTube.
podcast
I
or
have no idea. But he sleeps with one in, not only one in. And normally it falls out, and I find it somewhere in the bed or under the bed or
yeah,
dirt. But when we go to sleep, he has it in, and I can hear it. And some
yeah,
nights it just oh really gets
yeah.
to me.
That'll see. I couldn't handle that shit. Like
And
my
I
blood
can't
would
hear.
start boiling.
I couldn't hear exactly what like I can't hear words or all I
No,
can
but you
hear
just
is
hear the
the.
bass. Oh, that's even worse than hearing what
Well,
they're
I've
saying.
often thought about maybe investing in it, but I do know to get all of the kind of I don't know all the different things with that alarm. There is a subscription,
Yeah,
and I have no idea what that is. As everything in today's world, you have to have a subscription. But I do wonder if it would help him. Maybe not me, but him.
maybe. He could also I've seen these like headband headphones that are
Yeah,
for
but
people who want to sleep with headphones but not like with
in your
AirPods or
ear, yeah.
anything.
I don't know. There's a variety of things out there. So if you're someone
Yeah.
who needs like some sort of sound to go to sleep, these are definitely
Yeah.
some options that maybe could help you, or
Yeah.
maybe you've heard of these. And if there's others out there, then feel free to let us know, and we can explore
Yeah.
what's out
I'll
there.
let our listeners in into a little anecdote about myself is that I used to sleep or I still sleep with earplugs
Hmm.
because I kind of started doing that because my dad and I would be on the same like floor sleeping and he snores so
Yep.
loud.
So does my dad.
Now it's a lot less because he's lost weight, but still like he snores or he just like coughs really loud in his sleep like all dads do and I'm just like, "Oh my god, I can't fucking stay asleep." So, I started using earplugs, but I've gotten so used to them that I found it really difficult, even in a very quiet environment, to not sleep with those because I would, I got used to like the pressure on my ears that they gave me.
Mm.
Because they like they sit
Yeah,
in your
they
ear and
just
they like
feel, yeah.
expand a little bit. So I got used to that pressure. So now I am training myself again to fall asleep without them because I don't think they're good for your ears if you sleep with them every night.
Yeah.
Um, so I've
Like
been
just
training
keeping
myself.
in all the like bacteria and gross.
Yeah, exactly. So now I've been practicing to fall asleep without them, and I've been quite successful. I do tend to put them in like in the morning whenever birds are out, and I just like, I
Mm.
need 2 more hours of sleep. I'm just going to put them in. Um, but yeah, that's a little something that I've always done, and it was always I always felt really awkward because I had to bring them to like meets and stuff, and I would be like, okay, I'm gonna put my earplugs in so I can't hear you.
But honestly,
Um,
I don't find that as weird because I think from my just like general just like contact with people, and it could be different in different countries, but I think quite a few people sleep with some sort of earphone in their ears.
yeah, yeah.
Um
These I couldn't sleep on because they press like it's
yeah.
not flat.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe not AirPods. Maybe it is like that band thing, or maybe it's like the hook ones that maybe don't go in
Yeah,
your ear. But I think nowadays, more times than not, you'll come across people who have something in their ear to go to sleep. So
Yeah.
for me, I'm like, okay, so it's just your thing. Like, you don't sleep with your
Yeah.
friends, you sleep with.
So for me though, what I did notice was like I just would get too uncomfortable if I couldn't do like random sleepovers because I was like, but I don't have my earplugs. Like I cannot sleep without my earplugs. So I would just get obsessed about it, you know? So that's also one of the reasons why I'm trying to not be obsessed with them as much or not need them, to just be like, okay, I can sleep in a quiet environment without having the earplugs in.
Yeah, yeah.
And then sometimes I want to have a peaceful night and I'm like, "Mm."
Fair, fair. So, be given that we are kind of opposites in this respect, and
Yeah.
you find it easier to do a morning routine, and you find it easier to do a night routine. I
Yes.
wonder if it has something to do with you can. It's easier to create a routine based on the type of person you are, because like I'm a morning person. And I think creating a morning routine is easier. You're more of a night person, an evening person, and
Yeah.
you find making that routine at night easier. You have developed yours easier at night. If that
Yeah.
plays into the difficulty or the ease of being able to
I mean,
develop
it
like a
probably
small one.
does. It probably does. And, you know, for the people who have listened, they probably know I've been doing research with chronotype, so the tendency to be a morning person or a night person. And this would be very much an interesting topic to do research on. Um, because I do think it plays a role. Like, yes, you're a morning person, so for you, it's easier to get stuff done in the morning. For me, I'm a night person, so for me, it's easier to pick up my book at night and read for 30 minutes. Like, it just makes sense.
So I would question if, now I won't want to say forcing, but focusing on building the opposite of what you are, routine, is
Yeah,
more important to help with that regulation of the, like your internal body systems, your circadian rhythm, your just overall routine and weekly routine. If it's actually better to focus on the side that you are not so great at, or that you would be
yeah.
the opposite of.
I think that's a great point because the side that you are good at, that's going to come naturally.
Mhm.
And the side that you're not, like, you really have to put in work to make that routine work. And I think that's a good challenge for you and I both, to kind of start crafting that maybe a little bit. Like, we'll set a goal for this is something Leah wants to add in her night routine, and this is something Marit wants to add in her morning routine, and see how easy that's going to be for us to incorporate that.
Yeah, because I just, as we've been discussing on this, this episode, I noticed the trend of like, oh well, I like to get up early. It's easier for me to say, okay, the first thing I go to is develop the morning, because that's
Yeah.
when I'm awake, that's when I'm productive. But you can't neglect the other end. You can't neglect the nighttime routine and
No.
the evening routine, because ultimately you need both
Yeah.
to equal that overall wellness and that overall
Yeah.
more healthy approach of establishing those routines.
Yeah. Yeah, because to kind of, I think, hone in onto, let's say, the setting of the alarm. Like, it's great if you set your alarm at 7 a.m. in the morning every day, but it doesn't help if you go to bed at 11, if you go to bed at 2, if you go to bed at 10. Like, then that sleep schedule is still messed up.
Yeah,
So it only works if on both ends you have that same routine.
yeah,
Um, but honestly, for the people listening, let us know what your thoughts are. Like, if you think that we are onto something here, or Leah's onto something with like having more ease with creating a routine to whichever you prefer. And let us know if there's something you want to be working on and that you think might help us to work on in during our routine. Like we're curious to hear your opinions. Um, like we're navigating through life just as everybody else is.
100%.
It might look like we figured shit out, but in reality, we really haven't.
We go through phases. We go through phases
Yeah,
where we're like, yes, yes, and then we're
it's
like,
like I'm on
ooh,
top of the world.
this is not what we thought.
Yeah. So of course we're all just trying to figure out life together. Um, and we share our opinions with you guys, but we also want to hear your opinions. So definitely let us know. Either like reach out to us on Instagram. We are on Twitter. We are on TikTok. We are on basically every platform you can think of. We're not on Facebook because we're not on Facebook. Yeah, or leave us a review or whatever it is you want to do, but let us know like what you think about just this topic, but also the podcast in general. We're curious to hear your opinion. All good?
Yeah, my phone, or not my phone, my laptop just kind of. It's
Oh,
okay.
okay. Well, I hope everything's good.
Yes. So I think that is about all we kind of had said to discuss for
Yeah.
this episode. As Mara said, feel free to reach out. Let us know. We like learning new things and just seeing what everyone else does. We're always interested in what everyone else is doing because obviously there's
Yeah.
two of us and there's a lot of people out
Like,
there.
yeah,
So,
like we're doing shit, but everybody else is doing shit too. Like, just like I said, or gave the example of our household having dinner at 6 o'clock every night. Let us know what your household does. We're
yes.
curious. Maybe you eat dinner at 4. I don't know. I would love to hear it.
Yes. So with that, thank you for joining us as we offer a glimpse into the world of true friendship, where even though worlds may seem apart, the connection remains strong.
Thank you very much. See you later.
Yeah.